So in the meantime, what was it you were up to today, Laura? There was a conference you were doing?
Oh yeah, it was just an online conference. We did a panel, and it actually went really well. I crammed a lot into a short amount of time and really laid out the Astro stuff and the weaponized version of how the Cabal or Deep State work with that and what is available to us that we can work with in order to move forward in a positive way. So it went well, and a bunch of other people, Charnel and Neil and Brad Olson and some others. So we're just for Elena, right?
Oh, well, I think Elena has decided not to come back on.
Mercury just went into retrograde, so we're getting a nice blast of weird Mercury energy. I'm sure she'll be back on. And are we starting fresh from the beginning, or?
No, we'll kind of pick up till there we go. Okay. All right. Thanks for sticking around, Elena. This is unprecedented for me. I've had to mess other people stop me like earlier from even getting in, but it's so hard for me to focus on things. I need to be able to see everybody clearly. And I know the people that are going to be watching the video later on for this are going to appreciate it much better seeing everybody. So I would like to get into a question that I had, and I made sure to write it down because I'm very blonde and I tend to forget a lot. That's right. Okay, now a friend of mine, Mr. Rowe, had brought up the other. I haven't heard this from anyone else, but it's something that's kind of freaking me out, so that's why I'm bringing it up. Have you heard anything about the asteroid that's supposed to be coming on the 18th of January, just in a couple days? No, because when I was looking it up, Mr. Rowe had put this thing about asteroids that are coming in January, and the first one, they say how many kilometers away from the Earth it's going to be. The second one, they say how many miles away from the Earth it's going to be. And then from the third one, they put it down to astronomical units. It was a very small unit, and it definitely had the hair on the back of my neck stand up, especially after the release of Don't Look Up. So you have heard nothing that a rock is going to smash into us? Because I've been trying to will it into my forehead if it's coming. I'm just asking you, so you haven't heard anything from your contacts about an asteroid coming to kill us? Okay, there's both relief and regret there. Okay, anyways, now, Michael, what were you going to ask her?
I was going to say that, this has been something the Cabal has been trying to pull off for some time, an asteroid attack. And it seems that the Earth Alliance and the Galactic Federation or the positive ETs have thwarted that. Whenever they've lined up an asteroid to do its dirty work, that's been nudged aside or stopped or somehow redirected. So yeah, it doesn't look like that kind of false flag attack is going to happen at all, even though they've been trying to bring it about and trying to frighten people and create the kind of narrative for that energy to bring to come about. But I don't see it happening. That's
fantastic to hear, because I don't think anybody else has been stressing about it, but I know I have. So thank you for that. Whose turn is it next? Dan, is there something you'd like to bring up next?
Oh, I would like to, you're just looking out everything that's going on. You're just wondering since they have all the evidence on all the Cabal and everything, and it seems as though we're waiting for a certain degree of the populace to become awake and aware of what's been going on, that things aren't going to shift, and like Elena says, they're pulling out all stops in a way, as they're being taken off this planet. It seems as though they're being extra nasty, but everybody's wondering what's going to happen. you look at if you
when.
look at the mainstream media news, which being an ex-ABC newsman, that's one of my main focuses, how it's been infiltrated and hijacked and manipulating the perceptions and being used against us in so many different ways. Everybody's just probably sitting on the edge of their seat, wondering what's going to transpire next.
That is literally where I'm sitting right now. Sorry, I was missing the mute for some reason. There's 3 of them, and I've not been drinking. Laura, do you have anything you want to bring up? Because after you say something, I would like to find out, because I don't know a lot about Elena, and a lot of people don't, that are asking me. Even right now, I'm getting messages on my phone and stuff for her to tell us a little bit about herself. So, Laura, do you have something?
To ask Elena?
Yes.
Yeah, well, Elena, tell us about yourself. It seems like
There you go. Thank you.
people want a little bit more of a background. You have 3 books, right? I forwarded the 3rd one, which was about Valthor, which is really cool, and I love how we came together. But yeah, just maybe a brief sort of synopsis of just your
How you got your
childhood,
start.
and how it evolved into this contact you have with Thorhan.
Thank you, Laura. Well, I am archaeologist of my profession and also artist, but archaeology is my profession. I was abducted when I was a child at the age of 9 and rescued by people from the Galactic Federation. They saved me, they took me on board their ship, they took care of me and they brought me back, but they decided to keep contact with me. And to this day, I am in contact with them, but it's not only contact. I have frequent telepathic contact with them, some of them. And it's also about physical exchange, visits, invitations. I am invited a lot. I've been invited on their ship many times, regularly, in regular intervals in my life. And well, in 2018, they came back after a short absence, and they said that things were about to change on Earth, and they were right. They reactivated my memory from the night of my abduction, when I was traumatically abducted by small greys and rescued. And when I got these memories back, because I was ready, they said, things changed for me. I decided to tell my story. So I wrote my first book, A Gift from the Stars. That's how it started. But in the process of writing it, they decided upstairs to start giving me information. And, the game changed, because I became their, emissary. And I passed on data, messages. I did a whole repertoire of alien races who are visiting our planet. Before you incarnate on this planet, you just pick tools that are going to help you in your mission. And one of the tools I may have picked was good in drawing. So I could draw all the races I've been shown, and I can draw all the places where I'm going in this star system, because you can't take photos, because people like me, contactees, people like me, like Alex Collier, for instance, we are gladly utilized as soft disclosure, because we are not officials, because we are not politicians, because we are not mainstream, people doubt. There's always a doubt. Are we genuine, And that is what is the soft disclosure, that you bring up information, but not in an official way, that people choose to believe it or not. That's what the contactees like me and like Alex Collier are chosen for. And that's who I am.
Now, those who would ask, for those that would ask, why is it we can't? I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but why is it we can't take their picture?
Because it won't be soft disclosure anymore. It would be official disclosure, because a photograph is a proof regarding to the modern standards. And this goes into another level. It hits the prime directive. And any decision of disclosing anything must be voted, by the High Council upstairs, and it must really follow a plan. So you can't randomly take photos and show them. It would mess up everything, all their plans of self-disclosure. Everything is done very like a clock. It's very precise. So that's why we can't take photos. It would mess up and create chaos.
As above, so below. There's they've got it's. I believe it was Michael I was talking about it with before, and probably Dan. There was that movie. Is it Jupiter Rising? You just know that movie I'm talking about? Michael's getting so. I believe it's quite possible there's something like that out there. This planet is actually somebody's birthright that doesn't necessarily live here at the moment. And we all think it's ours, but they think it's theirs. So yeah, that's. I told people they wanted to know what to expect tonight, and I told them to get ready for trippy conversations because I like covering all of it. I used to be a flat out skeptic. I like to be the devil's advocate, but you do it in a way that because look, I can't prove any of you are wrong. Just as much as I'd love to prove you're right, I've had my own experiences that can make me relate to you a lot more. But to the public, I can't. Just like you guys can't. You have to feel what's right for yourself, and I think that's what a lot of us are starting to do now with the major awakening going on. And actually, a sidestep from that, I wanted to bring up that on the 22nd of January, they're planning a worldwide march, especially in Quebec. Here, I know they're doing it there for sure, but they're trying to make it worldwide. And I would suggest that if you can't get to a big city, that's fine. Me and my buddy Mike are taking a few signs and just going up the road to City Hall. And you can do the same thing in your town, because we need to get it to a point where everybody is not complying at the same time in order to get these elitist pricks out of office. I'm going to start ranting now. So I'm going to let somebody else. Michael, is there something else you'd like to get into, either that you've been working on that you'd like to share with us, or that you'd like to ask of Elena?
Yeah, well, I remember one of the things that, and this is something that Elena mentioned in one of the communications she had with Una from the Intergalactic Confederation. Una made the comment that by 2023, all of this will be a memory, that we would by then be in this completely new situation where a lot of the harsh policy people are experiencing, the secrecy, the control of the Dark Fleet, that's just a memory. And I see that happening, that we seem to be on a schedule. And that was something Elena said, 2023. Others have talked about 2024, 2023 being a global revolution. Cliff High, John Peterson from the Arlington Institute, they've been talking about that. The web bots that Cliff High monitors is pointing to a global revolution by 2024. But I think that what we're witnessing now is probably everything is being accelerated, because these policies that are being implemented worldwide. The French Parliament just issued legislation today, banning people who have not received the that thing in the arm, banning them from restaurants, theaters, and so forth. And France is a country of revolution, and so to me, I look at that and I say, well, this is just bringing the French into another revolution. So the deep state they have no way of holding all this back. And I think this is what we're seeing now, that we are going to witness a global revolution, and a big part of that is going to be disclosing the truth about the different ET races out there that are visiting us.
We don't hear you, Stephen, but
Okay, that makes perfect sense because I'm blonde, I'm stoned, and I was muted. And it's to cover up things. And what could they be covering up? Antarctica. Elena, any updates on that situation?
Well, I haven't been told recently updates on Antarctica because things are in the hands now of the elites. What happened in Antarctica recently? There was a meeting that had been planned in July 2021 when the Jupiter Agreement occurred, that 5 months later, the certain elites in charge of the financial system would meet in Antarctica with extraterrestrials. This meeting was about the transition between the ancient monetary system and the new that the Earth Alliance has. They have the keys. The extraterrestrials do not want an economical collapse on Earth. They hope this will not happen because there has been enough chaos and suffering, and it would really destroy the last hopes. So many people would suffer, and they don't want that. That's not in the plan that, empowering humanity and,
Absolutely.
all these things. So they have worked very hard to get the elites who have the keys of the actual old monetary system, financial system, to give the keys, to the Earth Alliance. But that it's not about giving the keys like how it works here is, there is a deeper dimension to it, which is dark magic. The financial system that has been in use until now is based on also dark magic. Dark magic is an element in the cement of it. And it goes very deep and very far. It's like a spider, it has many legs to it. But there are certain people in the elites. And Una, this lady from the Intergalactic Confederation, I remember she mentioned those of the name 33. And Michael just clicked. He said, "Oh, that's the Freemasons." You remember mine. And anyway, these people, not only these ones, but some of them, anyway, they have the keys of these rituals. What are the keys of these rituals? It's the way it has been done in order to be undone. The thing is, they need to do it themselves. So there are two elements. They gave to these goodies and the Earth Alliance the keys of these rituals and of all the monetary system, but they need, in case of if they don't do it themselves, the Earth Alliance will do it. But the Earth Alliance and the good deities, they don't really want to do it themselves because it's about dark magic and nobody wants to compromise themselves in doing this, so they want them to do it.
I gotcha.
That's it.
That does make sense too. So to debunkers, stick that in your pipe. Okay. And a shout out to TalkStream Live. We've got a great crowd. Studio A's got a great crowd. We got the Watchmen on Studio A as well. And wanted to quickly say that if you're listening on any of the formats out there, come on down to revolution.radio and you can go to the chat room in Chatsy, or you can just go to the nav bar. You can buy merchandise. We've got some very cool. We've even got Crocs now, people. I mean, who doesn't love Crocs, right? So, you could donate. We need some donations as well. And we get about 13 minutes, I think, or yeah, around there before the next break. So Dan, how you doing, buddy?
Good. I was just thinking, the listeners, everybody's at different levels of research, and everybody's had the time to be able to do the scholarly research that Dr. Michael Salla has been doing over the decades. And I am so grateful to Elena for bringing in a new perspective. I'm an old 20th century witness, and then they came up with the secret space program, the 20 and back program. Now we're having people have contact directly with the Galactic Federation of Worlds. I found it quite remarkable that Michael Salla found this book called The Federation that matched almost exactly, word for word, what the prime directive was that Thorhan gave Elena. That clicked it over for me. You know, I know that Elena's not making any of this up. It is
There's more than
definitely
enough evidence out there in the sky that we've been seeing it on TV now, and they're even in TikTok videos cropping up showing large ships, pyramid-shaped ships, things that we hadn't seen until this point. We've seen the triangles. We had not seen pyramids really until recently. So go ahead, Dan.
What's given me great hope is that there is a moral code in the galaxy. There is a prime directive where they seek balance and peace throughout the galaxy. And the fact that these higher density or higher frequency, whatever term you want to use, higher evolved races have consciousness and technology is reflected. Whatever the level of consciousness that a race is, their technology reflects that. Therefore, their weaponry is highly evolved. So if you have a more nefarious group of extraterrestrials, you have a group that has a higher moral code that can alleviate that threat. And so that to me is very, very hopeful that there is such a moral code throughout the galaxy. To me, that was, when you study all this stuff for many years, going way back and looking at all the witness testimonies and all the documents, and you look at some of the nefarious things that have been done, you can lose a lot of hope. But the fact that there is a moral code, that gave me great hope. I just wanted to share that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Michael, you were going to only be sticking around for the first hour? Yes? Okay, so well then let's get back to you, sir. Is there anything you'd like to tell us that you've got coming up in the pipes, or anything you'd like to ask Elena?
This is one of the things that Elena said in a communication from Thorhan concerning the discovery of these extraterrestrial arcs that belong to the interplanetary, to the intergalactic confederation, that they're being found all over the solar system, including the Earth, and mentions several parts of the Earth as well. So I'm actually working, and the article will be out tomorrow morning. My army source JP was taken on a mission to one of these in the Atlantic, just off the coast of Florida, and he said it's huge. It's bigger than the one on the moon, and that was very interesting because Thorhan told Elena that they're all over the Earth. There's a number of them all over the Earth, but the biggest one is under the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
And so this is something that JP's just went to. He did a mission. It was a joint mission involving the Americans, the American space program, the Chinese, and there were these Aztec Indians who understood the writings of nice. the hieroglyphs that were part of the mission as well. So that'll be coming out tomorrow. But I don't think this is something that's going to kind of be able to be contained for that long, because we're not talking about a trip to Ganymede or a trip to the far side of the moon where they're uncovering all this stuff. We're talking about the Atlantic Ocean, and that there's a huge kind of a navy structure, a circular ring type structure suspended directly over this huge arc buried under the ground several miles deep, and they're doing joint missions into that. So JP's kind of blown the whistle on that. I've put it out. Thorhan has confirmed that yes, there's an arc under the Atlantic. It's the biggest one here on the Earth, and yes, I think that was an amazing synchronicity there.
Wow, Michael, I'm just learning about JP's mission now, so that's quite fantastic. That when things are matching, information is matching. It's always fantastic for the public to really realize that this is happening. Thorhan said as well that there would be 2 major archaeological finds or discovery this year in 2022. So maybe this is one of them. I don't know. We will see. It's a surprise.
I'm thinking I've been had a strange dream, and like I've said before, I don't remember them often, but it had something to do with giants. That much I do remember. So I think something may end up coming out about this Tartaria that I've been hearing so much about. If you can, when next time you're in contact, ask your friends if there's anything to that, because I'd love to know.
Okay.
We've got about 6 minutes. Michael, anything else you'd like to get into since you're on your way out soon?
That I think that there's a lot of officials that want this information to get out. The Earth Alliance really is encouraging people to kind of like share the information to, and certainly with my insider, this army whistleblower. I mean, he's being encouraged to come out and talk about this, so that there are people inside the military that are kind of like saying, no, don't talk. This is classified information, and you're not authorized to disclose this. But yet he's being told by his covert operatives that he needs to talk about it. He needs to go out. And I think what I find really interesting about this ship in the Atlantic is that JP was taken there in 2014 for the first time. He was taken there on one of these anti-gravity craft. He went to this, to this Navy structure on floating over this extraterrestrial ark. In 2014, he went there, and he said that he got off that craft, that small craft, and he was heading towards some kind of elevator that would take you down into the ship, into the structure that was down below the ocean. But a general stopped him and said, no, you shouldn't be here. Go away. And so he was sent back. And that told me that 2014, that was, the time was not yet right for all this stuff to come out. Mm-hmm. But now he's being given access. And I think this is what we're seeing, that the people that control the secrets are allowing this information to come out. So I think it's going to be really incredible over the next few years as all this stuff comes out really, really quickly. We've got the James Webb telescope, the space telescope that's out there now. They're getting ready for announcing extraterrestrial life. I mean, NASA's consulting 24 theologians about how the disclosure of extraterrestrial life is going to impact world religion. So yeah, they're getting ready, and we need to do the same as well.
Absolutely. Elena, is there anything you wanted to add to that, to what Michael was just saying?
Well, that these arcs are spread throughout the star system. There are many more, and these are from ancient colonies of the Intergalactic Confederation.
Okay.
That were in our star system very long time ago. They are called the founders or the seeders. They are a compound of different races who have mixed their DNA with humans on Earth. And they left time capsules behind. And these time capsules, yes, these time capsules
makes sense to me.
Kept a knowledge that's been kept all this time until the moment humanity is going to be ready. So this knowledge is suddenly made available. It's going to be slowly made available because these arcs are activated by the return of the people who have the same technology. They are like alive, they are like living ships. It's
bioships, essentially.
It's particular,
yep.
Yes.
It makes sense to me. Yeah, absolutely. Laura, is there something you quickly like to add before we go to break?
Oh, not really. Just the term ARC. I remember when I was dealing with the Mars recruitment, that's what they named the vehicles, well, the craft that we would be going in, ARC. And that thought kind of came up. And I'm just, listening, and I'm fascinated. I'm just wondering about the dark technologies that the reptilians use that can cloak them and create holographic appearances of being benevolent, and where that might be a last-ditch effort to confuse people as far as when benevolent galactic beings might be showing up, or what your thoughts are on that. Or have you heard about that? Just where a reptilian being can appear to be, maybe it's because there's a clone or some sort of DNA material they have to make them not reptilian. I know they do it on a human level already, but yeah.
Well, the reptilians that were on Earth have been expelled, so there's not anymore any physical danger with them. But what still remain is, all the artificial intelligence that is still stored in what remains of the black goo. All these entities, some are reptilian entities with no bodies, and they can interact with confusing people. I don't think we will see more of physical reptilians shape-shifting, because yes, the reptilians have the ability of shape-shift. They can do it two ways. They can do it by modifying their molecular structure to physically change, or they can create an illusion, a holographic illusion. And you will see a very attractive person, very charismatic, and it will be a reptilian. They used to do that. They know how to do that.
Absolutely. I gotta stop you right there. Remember what you're saying. We're talking about the reptilians, because we may not hear it, but the music is probably playing right now, or it will be in 10 seconds. So thank you, Michael, for being here. Michael's going to be taking off, and I'll be back with Dan, Laura, and Elena after the break. You guys all got about 5 minutes.
Okay,
Great.
bye everyone. Aloha.
Hi.
Aloha, Michael.
Thanks, Michael. All right, welcome back to the Red Pill. I am Steve Crawford. We got off to a rocky start. At first, the studio wouldn't accept my call. I've had flashbacks of my childhood calling my parents to come and get me from jail. It was nuts. And then Michael accidentally pushed a button, which should have logically just changed the way he saw us, but it changed the way we all saw each other. And my little rabbit brain just couldn't fathom what was going on picture-wise. But we got it all back together. We got everybody back on the call. Michael had to take off. Not going to say where he is. He's being protected. We've got to protect our landmarks, and Michael's a landmark, damn it. We are back with Laura Eisenhower, Dan Willis, and Elena Danan. Elena, I don't know how to start. I was saying I've had incidents in my life. Dan knows about them. Laura knows about them. Everybody who's listened to my show knows about them. There is one time that I can remember for a fact. I was 16 years old, hitchhiking from St. Catharines, where I live, which is near Niagara Falls, Canada. And so we're kind of at I'm at Lake Ontario, and I was hitchhiking to Lake Erie. And I actually was walking because nobody was picking me up. But I was walking. I looked to the left. It was nighttime. There was this, what I thought was a bright star. That's how everybody's story started, right? It looked like a bright star over Niagara Falls. And then I was thinking about some nonsense in my head. But I remember stopping, thinking, is that thing getting closer? Then the next thing I know, I finished that thought. I turned forward, and I'm in Port Colborne on Lake Erie. With like it had to have been about. It would have took me about an hour and a half to 2 hours, bare minimum, to walk the journey. I was only 30 minutes into it, and had arrived at where I was going. That's why I don't tell a lot of people, because all of the experiences I've heard about, for the most part, you get your Whitley Strieber with the probes and such, and to me it wasn't, and they were terrified, and I don't want to belittle their experiences, because it was so unterrifying that they gave me a ride where I was going. Has anything like that happened to you before they gave you back your memory? Did you have inklings that something was going on?
Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. Well, yes. I had this memory of my abduction this night blanked temporarily because it was too traumatic, and I really thank them that I never remember this in my life until recently. But I had flashes of what had happened, that something had happened. Okay. I saw this big UFO. We were different people seeing it, this big UFO, this big flying saucer above the roofs. It was in the south of France at the time, it was small. And I have this vivid memory of this UFO coming above the house. And my grandmother knew about it because she'd been an abductee. She was an abductee as well. And she knew that it was going to change color, and she knew everything. She knew it was people from outer space. And this I remember well. And of course, waking up the following morning, bleeding and having markings on my body. And, so yes, I knew something happened and I needed to get this missing time back. So it's probably like you, they picked you up and you had missing time, I suppose, because I don't know if you didn't say you remembered what happened in the ship.
Yeah, it was. I was looking at this thing and thinking, is it coming closer? And then when I was in St. Catharines still, and then when I turned my head forward from that thought, to me there was no time missing until I realized what time it was, and then I'm like, wait a minute, how did I completely phase out an hour and a half of my walk from St. Catharines to the mouth of Port Coburn? I was 16. I was not heavily into I was not drinking. I smoked occasional joints, and I was not stoned that day. So, you scratch your head, but at that point, I didn't remember. I just knew that I couldn't account for some time that was missing. So, to me, it didn't seem traumatic or scary at all. And often, before I moved where I am now, I would go outside just to have a cigarette. A filthy habit. Yes, I've got to quit. But I would go outside but when I was doing this was when I'm seeing them all. It would seem like they would fly directly over my house. There was one. I wish I had a better camera at the time. I tried to film it, and it was too faint a light. But it was appearing and disappearing so quickly. It was just one ship, but it was doing it so quickly while I was thinking, do something. It clicked in, and it's pop, 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 and I'm giggling and crying like a little girl, and I'm looking for my neighbors or somebody who passing by to go, look, tell me I'm not crazy, please. Did you feel like that in the beginning?
No, I felt hypnotized, mesmerized by this
You
ship.
had family, right, that you said that kind of knew too, so yeah. That's just wild to me. Sorry, I've been dominating it. Laura, is there something you'd like to add?
Oh, you were saying something about family?
Yeah, didn't you say, grandmother or something, didn't you say? Or your mother was a victim as well, Elena?
My grandmother.
My
grandmother was, yes, regularly abducted as well.
And how was just communicating with your family in general? How did that go when you really felt like you needed?
Badly, because with my granny, we managed to talk about it, but it was very sensitive topic for her. She would be very mute about it. I understand, my grandmother, it was another time, other mentalities, and you don't speak about these things, which are very disturbing. Now we are more open-minded to talk about it. Look at us, imagine like 100 years ago, kind of, nearly. The rest of my family, when I tried to talk, they wouldn't believe me, and they would say it's my imagination, so I shut it up.
Dan, you got something a question you want to get in there? I'm just still, my mind's a little bent about what I'm hearing, so I need you guys to cover for me for a minute.
I I'm fascinated. The last week or so, I've been reading Elena's book, A Gift from the Stars, and I'm starting on We Will Never Let You Down, and it goes into great detail, and it's an incredible account. I had a missing time experience when I was in Washington. I had lunch with Jaime Maussan, who's kind of the anchor man in Mexico for 60 Minutes. He invited me to Mexico, and I was on Telemundo television saying, we have the scientists we have 0-point energy that can alleviate the pollution in Mexico City. We have these advanced technologies. And then when I was going across the border with my friend, I had a little Porsche with a convertible, and it was a nice summer night, and we left at midnight. And we were in a good mood, and we were actually singing across the freeway, doing over the limit. And 4 hours missing. I mean, we have no idea what happened. So yeah, I had a unusual missing time, and people. There's a lot of people who've had experiences, and I think it kicks it over for people once they have an experience, because you have something to relate to. Otherwise, you think all these people are like making these things up. And once, I think, people have no idea, because of the infiltration of the controlled mainstream media, the infiltration of our education system. They have no idea of the hidden reality that's been generationally indoctrinated into what their perceptions are in the world. And I think in the future we're going to have an incredible feeling of eternal gratefulness for the Galactic Federation for clearing out the Draco and the Nibu that are been nefariously manipulating, working with the Cabal on this planet, that they did that to help us. But I understand the prime directive. They have to allow us to work out our own issues, but with the controlled education, controlled media, people don't have any experience, so they have no way to relate to what's going on. But it's a soft disclosure, doing shows like this, that in the many different avenues that this information is coming out, that people start to realize that there's really something to this.
Absolutely. We have a question from the chat room. I'm not sure if it's a serious question, but either way, it amuses me, and I'd kind of like to. So, if anybody here, but especially Elena, if you've heard, was Trump abducted or not? That's from Mitzi in the chat room.
I don't know.
No, okay. Sorry, Mitzi. He may be a clone. I'm trying to throw you a bone here. You never know. Take it, because I haven't been paying attention, and I did want to see if anybody had questions. Take a quick peek here. If you do have a question, okay, Mace139. Any truth to the Yellow Book, Elena, that you know of?
The Yellow Book.
Right. Dan, what was Brad saying? That was, again, it's kind of like a Project Looking Glass type thing.
You're talking about the Yellow Cube?
Yellow Cube, also been referred to as Yellow Book, yes.
Oh.
I don't know about it.
No?
Wasn't that where they were tracking different UFO experiences? That I thought, I can't remember.
That may have, yeah, I don't know a lot about it myself. There was somebody I was talking to that they may have even sent me the link, and I just lost it. Actually, it was Brad. Brad's got some links to it. So for those listening, you can go to my YouTube channel, The Red Pill, find the video up, and go to Brad's website, bradolson.com.
Yeah, it's about the history of aliens on Earth. Just wanted to say that. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So for that about the Yellow Book, I know Brad knew, and he's also, I think he talks about it in Beyond Esoteric, which I'm about a quarter of the way through, and I've got to get back to tomorrow. I'm going back and forth between 3 books that are really great, and I've got to get something from Elena. Laura, actually, speaking of books, how's yours going?
Oh my gosh, every time I try and work on it, it's like something happens. It's like it's been taking forever. There's always it seems to be something getting in the way. So maybe I'm manifesting it due to my own resistances, and I'm like creating these outer blocks. But when I first attempted to write it, the person that was helping me edit supposedly accidentally deleted pretty much all of it. She was helping me edit,
Oh.
and it's just like you just feel so deflated once you lose stuff like
Oh,
that. And
yeah.
hard to track. I wanted to have it done by the end of 2021, but I'm gonna just get the ball rolling here, and hopefully I can get it done soon, within the next month or so, for at least the first one out of a few.
Yeah, and stay positive, because look at it as, okay, now it'll be easier for you to do it because you already know what you were talking about and what you wanted to talk about, and it may flow a little bit better. I'm
It's just,
trying to find that silver lining for you.
I don't know. I'm really impressed by anybody who's able to do that, and Elena, you've done amazing with your books, and so yeah, I just kind of overthink things, and then I get frustrated, and then I start painting because I can just do whatever. I don't have to be exact, but I do love to write. So anyway, that's where it's at.
That's always a good thing. Elena, is there anything you'd like to ask Dan or Laura?
Oh,
Or just anything in general you'd like to get to talk about that we haven't gotten to tonight? Open question for anything you would like to get to.
well, there's something very important that I would like to mention tonight, because we haven't had the opportunity to get to this point regarding to the current events. The good ET allies, they have dealt with the ET problem, okay, and the Earth Alliance, the ET problem on Earth. It's done. It's pretty much, it's fine. It's done. But the thing is, it's not over. There has been a lot of psyops that have been built since a few years to prepare to this moment to take away the power from us, to let us believe that we are going to be saved for everything. So what's happening is, yes, there are good extraterrestrials. They have taken care of the extraterrestrial threat because it's in their directive, prime directive. It's what they do. They saved. They didn't totally save us, but they removed the extraterrestrial problem. Now, it is up to us to finish the job, because they are not going, these ETs, these good ETs, they are not going to steal the victory from us. They don't do that, okay?
Nor should they.
They remove the threat, the off-world threat. That's what their laws are, their ethics are. And now the planet is ours, and we need to deal with our problems.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not over. We need to deal with our elites, with other problems that are down to humans that we are able to deal with, okay?
Right.
And this is very important, and that's messages are received to pass on regularly. We need to finish the job. And what is finishing the job? Get rid of the ancient paradigm. It's a dark night of the soul for humanity. It's a rite of passage for humanity. We need to see that from a higher perspective, because we are evolving in consciousness. So let's see it from a higher conscious perspective directly, okay? We need to go through this to realize who we are as a species. What do we have in the gut? And it is by stopping consenting to feed the old beast that we'll let it die. We need to stand up and say no to be manipulated and to the tyranny that's happening. We need to do that. And someone upstairs told me that, the humans on Earth need to put the last stone of the monument of their victory. We need to do that, to be the victors, the winners. It's our planet. It's our culture. It's, nobody's going to save us.
Exactly. We need to fight for this. We shouldn't be relying on people from another planet to come down and tell us. We don't need people to tell us that our planet's being messed with. Wake the hell up and get these people out of power. Until recently, I would say only force is going to get it done. And I still, to some degree, believe it may have to come to that with some of them. at least. But
But it's, you know, it's also about an inner, deeper process to transform ourselves, to do this every day, to become it, to become the sovereignty, to become the no to tyranny, you know.
Yep.
It's an inner process. It always starts within, individually. It's individually that at a level, individual level, that this world is changing, and it's happening. It's happening.
It's hard for people to relate to something they're not going through, and it was for me too for the longest time. Well, a lot of people, I was just going to name a name, and I'm not going to do that because that's a bad habit to get into. But there are people out there that will not approach the abduction phenomenon itself, for instance, simply because they're like, that it's hard enough just getting people to take UFOs seriously. The problem is with that, they're discounting a big part of why a lot of the bad aliens were here in the first place. Because with the deal that was brokered between Laura's great-grandfather and actually before that he got kind of dumped with, that is proof enough that they had an ulterior motive to begin with. We were just too naive to be able to see it at that point in time. And put yourself in Eisenhower's footsteps and in his place and in his mindset at being walked out to a spaceship and seeing a creature there. You have to be wondering, I'm sorry, but I would need to wear a diaper. I would have had to have a diaper underneath my clothes because the realization when it strikes you. So just for people out there that like to bash, just try to put yourself into that place, because I truly believe these things did take place, in my opinion. Dan, actually, Laura, would you like to add to that? Because you were the one who brought up how it was actually your great-grandfather kind of inherited that deal.
Well, yes. And after I met Elena, she confirmed that the deals were done behind his back, that there was some sort of meeting, but it didn't necessarily lead to any kind of signing of a treaty. It was MJ12, and she should probably go into that a little bit more than me. And there was kind of a question I had there. In a lot of respects, do they even need treaties, or is it just sort of like on the surface to make it look like we made some kind of agreement so that when disclosure happens, they're not totally the bad guys. Somehow we agreed to it. So they're using Eisenhower as a scapegoat so that it doesn't look like a total invasion, but there was some level of consent, even though the ones that agreed were like the hybrids of them and they were already part of the Dark Alliance or something.
They needed an official consent from officials. That's what they do on every planet they want to enslave. They got the population of the planet to officially agree to be enslaved. And when they do that, the Galactic Federation cannot do anything because it is all about free will and consent. Mm-hmm. When a population accepts an invader on their ground, nobody's going to interfere with their decision.
Would you say
except if they request help?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Would you say some of these deep state players, though, are hybrids and they're in alliance with them, so it's not really fair because it's not really the consent of the greater population of humanity?
That's the trick, because they are tricksters. The humanity never agreed for that. It was just an official treaty that covered the Nebu, the Greys, from the Federation. The thing is, all the abductions that have been going on since then, since 1956, that was the second treaty with the Greys. Well, since that time, I mean, all these people who have been abducted weren't, it wasn't in the treaty. The treaty was only about 150 people, you know, they would abduct these Greys, but they went way largely over that. The thing is, people don't know about this, and they have been playing on consent. Mm-hmm. Fear is consent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Because, you know, since I've been told these things, I start to tell people, because I receive a lot of messages and emails of abductees, help. So I say, listen, realize that they do not have the right to do that, okay? If you consent, nobody's going to save you. But although the Federation has been sending teams and crews to save people as much as they could, but that's another thing. So they don't have the right to do that. If you stand up to them, you stop being afraid of them. You stand and you say, I do not consent to be abducted. I never personally gave my consent to be abducted. Now, get the out of my house. When I say that to people at first, they went, well, whatever. Yeah, try it.
Yep.
Well, people started to get back to me. Oh my God, it works. It worked. They left me and they never came back. They left my kids they alone. Yes. So there's the thing as well. If you are taken in your sleep and you're unconscious, what you can do is before going to bed, if you have the suspicion that you may be abducted, you feel these things, you see UFOs and stuff, you say it out loud before going to bed every night. And I promise you, it works. If despite this, they still abduct you, they are in trouble with the Federation.
Oh, nice. And that's actually for listeners out there that are having issues with the paranormal. That stands, in most cases, it stands for that as well. I had a young daughter. She was maybe a few weeks, only a few weeks old when they started harassing her in my home. I went to put her in her crib one night, and there was this thing that kind of looked like a cartoon oil slick in the shape, almost like a spider. And she's whimpering in my arms and pulling back. And I lean forward to look more. And on the back wall, there is a nightlight and a window just above that. So there's the crib, the nightlight, the window. As I lean in, this thing moves up the wall beside the nightlight, cast a shadow, and then went down underneath her crib. And I took her into our room, plopped her into our bed, and said, this baby is never sleeping in that room again. We started having more and more issues like that. Then her father died. And I used to sleep in my own room because I'm a flopper. I always have been. And I grind my teeth when I'm sleeping. And I distinctly remember it slowing down right after her father died. And I was laying on my stomach awake, facing the wall, bedroom doors over here, and I felt somebody sit on the bed and put their hand on on my shoulder, and I thought it was my ex. I turned over to give her a kiss, and there's nobody there. So then I'm like, okay, maybe I'm waking up from a dream or something. I lay back down and close my eyes. Then on the end of the bed, I feel, when you feel somebody sitting on the end of your bed, you feel the bed move. It goes down, and then the bed starts shaking, because the person who's not there but is sitting at the end of my bed is shaking their leg back and forth the way I often do as a nervous reaction to things that are going on. So I then jumped out of bed. The bed was still down and shaking. Something happened. He wound up leaving, and the darkness started coming back, and I snapped one day. Long story short, I snapped one day. And with true intention behind every word and the venom coming out of me, I was like, I know what's going on. I know what you're capable of. I know what we are capable of. I know a lot more about it than you do. If you don't leave me and my daughter alone right now, when I die, I will consume you. And I meant it when I said it. That is the day ghosts stopped coming to me altogether, even the nice ones. I haven't had a visit in a long time. So it works.
It works. We are in control. We just need to know it.
You have to be certain of it. Certain of your conviction. Same with the aliens, the way you say it. With love, but conviction. I did not agree to this. And it's not cool, dude. So, have a good night. On to the next one. and go back to sleep. That's what I want. I remember actually another one just popped into my mind. I'm sorry, but I've got to get it out there. This is one I've never shared with people. I had many ex-girlfriends. Imagine that. At another time, one was a dancer, and I had Christmas lights. I was too cheap to buy a lamp. I had Christmas lights above my ceiling, and that's what lit my room at night. And you could see them. They were on 24 hours a day. So one night, got this weird sensation. I could not move. I opened my eyes. Everything's black, and now I know I should be seeing my Christmas lights. So I try to move again, and I start to panic because I'm not able to move. I was able to slightly start moving my head, and I hear a voice saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Hey, relax." In my mind, I was saying, "F you! I'm not gonna relax." Boom! Instant. My eyes were open. Boom! Instantly, the black came to. I could see the light. My then girlfriend comes out of the bathroom. Were you just behind me in the bathroom? I just felt somebody touch me on the shoulder. I'm still trying to figure out whether that was alien or supernatural, although they're both to me supernatural events. Have you had anything like that ever happen? I guess they try to call that what, like when you stop breathing, sleep apnea or something like that. That you stop breathing and that's just your body. You know, they came up with one of those. It's so lame. I can't even remember what it is to try to describe that experience. Have you had that encounter yourself, where it feels like it's an out of body experience, or that somebody may well have been trying to jump into your body?
Well, I've been in the contact of these phenomena all my life. As a psychic person, as a shaman, I've seen ghosts. I have cast away demons. I have exorcised people. I mean, these things happen. So, but that's not ETs. That's just a certain realm, certain density of the earth. We call it the lower astral or the demonic world. There's so many to it, so much to it. It would worth a whole program about it, I suppose.
Nice. Is anybody else hearing that, or am I the only one hearing that? There's
I'm hearing it.
a tone.
Yeah.
Elena, I think it might be. Is there any way you can turn your volume down on Skype just a tiny bit? I think you might be peaking just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm hearing that too.
Yeah.
Is it okay? Is it okay
Yeah.
like this?
Absolutely. Yes.
Is it
I think
better?
Oh,
Yes.
better.
probably just a notch too loud on your mic. Fantastic. It's gone now. Okay.
That's much better.
Dan, let's get to a question from you now, or just something you'd like to share with the audience.
Well, I think everybody's kind of had it with the dark energies and when he cast them out of this planet. It's people are picking up the glitches on the perception, but a lot of people that the cabal has made it on this planet, so a lot of people are on survival mode. They don't even have chance to research. And as you know, you've had your channel censored many times, your YouTube channel, as Laura has as well. And people are going to
They censored
Rumble,
it again tonight.
Oh yeah, I believe
remember
it.
what you're saying. That video of you, me, and Brad, one of Elena's
really?
followers joined, and she sent me a message saying when I tried to look at the video, it was blacked out, and it asked me if I really wanted to see it, and I was like, yeah. I'm like, wow, thanks for letting me know. Okay, so go ahead.
This perception matrix, I guess you could say, we're in, and as long as they have control of the information systems, the media and the big tech and everything like that, you wonder how this is going to transform. A lot of people are catching on to the glitches from the different, but a lot of people don't have time to research any of this stuff. I'm just kind of excited at the possibility that this at some point will transform. The media system will be taken over, and the truth will be revealed, and our government system will be operating maybe like they do on the advanced cultures, where they have a benevolent council that makes the decisions, that our corrupt medical system that is for profit will be replaced. That my great-grandfather was going up against Rockefeller and back in the 20s. Military, our science, everything that we've been taught, like William Tompkins says, it's all misinformation. Our planet's been hijacked all these decades.
Everything we've been taught. I want to clarify that, because too many people these days like to pick and choose what can and can't be possible. And like you said, we were told that everything I can't stress it enough, everything we've been told is a lie. Okay, sorry. Go back to it, Dan.
It makes me feel so much better not paying attention in school and skipping school all the time. Sorry, I had to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just imagine the world we could have, you know. And I was a little kid, I was thinking, oh, in the future, you know, this is back in the 50s, and we'll have anti-gravity cars, go to other planets and all this. And, you know, I spent 10 years meeting with scientists, inventors, and all threats, suicides, you know, and national security orders, thousands of incredible inventions and things been ever since the Nazis came in and infiltrated. We've had our complete society hijacked technologically in every aspect, you know, medical, propulsion systems, you name it. We had scientists way back 20 years ago that when CBS interviewed me, I said, I'm not doing this unless I can say we have a scientist who can prove we have zero-point energy, alleviate the need for nuclear oil and coal. They promised up and down I could say that. The higher executive, she said, made me cut that part out. And so we know the CIA controls, you know, the higher executives in the media. And so you just wonder at what point they have the goods on all these people. The NSA has been monitoring them all. They have the rule of law that can be used against all these criminals. They've been using secrecy with their secret societies. You know, nobody, the whole earth didn't get a chance to vote on whether or not we have the NIBU come in and do a technology transfer for abducting people. You know, this at some point we're going to hit this crossing point of transformation where we're going to witness a beautiful transformation of the planet, and I'm looking forward to it.
We have to will it to be so. We can't just talk about it. We've got to keep taking steps, people, as well. We've got about 18 minutes to 20 minutes left, so I think we're good. Geez, what else did I want to cover? Is there anything else anybody here would like to cover that we haven't?
Well, I just wanted to confirm. I mean, I know Elena's already said this, but I mean, just because it came out of my mouth, not hers, that MJ12 did sign behind his back, and then he began to realize that he had lost control and wanted to invade Area 51. We don't have to get into that, but I just wanted to make sure that it was coming out of your mouth, not just mine, for the audience.
Yes, Laura, that's exactly how we met, you and I. And I never thought I would connect with you, especially not like this. It was amazing. I met Val Thor, Commander Val Thor. That was a surprise. Well, I asked for it, but then it happened as I wasn't expecting it anymore. And he started to tell me about these things, that he knew your great-grandfather, and he told me his version of the story, which was Eisenhower never signed these treaties with the Greys for abductions and etc. And that's how I contacted you, to tell you that I had heard this, and in your heart, I remember you said that you knew that in your heart already. But somebody confirming it, it's fantastic, you know. And Val Thor employed the expression, the Council of the 12 Men. signed with the Council of the 12 Men. I said, oh, that's the MJ12. that matches, you know.
Wow. I mean, obviously, with your research, Dan, and what you both know, this carries over from what Project Paperclip was. Did that infiltrate these organizations like MJ12 and some of the secret societies, or was MJ12 was set up in Truman's administration? But I'll kind of leave it at that, though. That's
It's quite complex.
They are the shadow government, MJ12. They have their hands on the alien, or had their hands on the alien technology, and were doing all sorts of things, and things just got really bad real fast with the infiltration.
There's a few things that really stand up for Eisenhower, and that was the first contact meeting in 1954, where Gerald Light, one of the people who witnessed it, it was his conviction, he said in a letter, that Eisenhower was going to go forward with the public and have full disclosure, which is what the Galactic Federation would do, have full disclosure, not secrecy like MJ12 and the Vatican wanted. Also, he wouldn't have threatened to invade Area 51 when they denied him access. Obviously, he wasn't on their side. And then when he left office, he tried to warn the people about the misplaced powers and the unwarranted influences. He wouldn't have been trying to warn the American people if he was on their side. I just wanted to add that.
Yes.
And I want to quickly let everybody know how you guys can get in touch with my guests this evening. And where the heck are my glasses? Of course, I don't have them nearby, but we have www.thewebmatrix.net for those who want to track down Dan, and his site is in chronological order. The guy keeps updating it. For people out there who are just looking for ideas for your own shows, go to that site because you'll get some good ones. We have www.exopolitics.org for Michael. He's not here right now, but he was on earlier. So for those people who don't know, exopolitics.org. We have cosmicgaia.org, www. Or you could also, it works for me, is lauraeisenhower.com. And we have www.elenadenan.org as well. And we still have some time left. Great. Okay, now, DUMBs being destroyed, allegedly, worldwide. Can you fill us in on anything you may know about that, Elena?
Yes, there was an occupation by two main groups in the DUMBs. The Orion Group, the Nebu, who are Greys, and the reptilian Seekers, what we more commonly call the Draconians or Draco-reptilians, the Seekers. So these two groups are gone. They are normally competitors in the galaxy. They rarely work together, but sometimes they ally for common interest, which they did with Earth. And they allied with dark sides of some governments. The reptilians were working more with the Dark Fleet, the Fourth Reich, and in Antarctica, but also that's a faction of reptilians. There was another faction, reptilians, working also with the Cabal, involved in anything that's dark magic and all this kind of stuff. Politics. The Greys, it was different. The Greys were working for themselves, just having residence here and doing their business. And when they signed this agreement with Eisenhower, it was stipulated: you give us facilities on Earth, underground. You don't mind our business, and we don't mind your business. That was written.
But that was MJ12.
So yes, anything ET involved in the Cabal and the Dark Fleet, it's the reptilians. The Greys are were just a parasite,
But you think they are a race, though, the Greys? They're not just robots. A lot of people think they're just robots that are working for somebody else.
There's everything. There's so many different types of Greys. All the Greys are not regressive. They are wonderful cultures of gray beings that are fantastic, but that they are not here.
Right.
These ones. The greys who were parasiting us, these are from different cultures, mainly centered in Orion, but then you have Zeta Reticuli, Cygnus, Vela, a bit in Andromeda Galaxy. They are biological beings who have, for most of them, developed clones and synthetics. And the clones and the synthetics are the crews on the ships who abduct people. When you are abducted, you will maybe have the opportunity to see one biological entity, who is the captain or the supervisor. But all the rest are all synthetics and clones.
But were they originally ever human? Because some people say that, or they're from the future. And I know you put a
Oh
meme
my
up.
God. Thank you, Laura, for bringing this up. Okay. A gray is not a human. It's two different species, okay? You can do hybrids with them, okay? The way humanity is going to evolve is as human beings, not as greys. It's two different genomes. We are human, and the greys are reptiloids or insectoids, okay? They have 3 fingers, we have 5, they're different. It's another species. It's like trying to breed cats and dogs. That's where it's down to, you know? Two different species. The humans from the future are here already, but are humans. There's a terrible psyop that is going on that has been installed in the New Age communities, that some greys are us in the future. That cannot happen. Well, maybe they had taken over the Earth, and it would be a terrible negative timeline where the Earth would have lost, which we avoided. Yeah, maybe these regressives would come back in time to influence us to get consent for whatever.
Right.
But that's still going on, you know, these psyops, and there are, yeah, must be careful. Greys and humans are different. It's two different species.
Is there anything though that alters a human? Take point that over the course of time, losing reproductive capacity, and just how that changes the DNA, that it turns into a species that one might consider alien or even gray? And I'll just that'll be my last question.
It's not gray, but a hybrid, kind of a hybrid, because yes, these things were gray technology. It's gray technology. It modifies the DNA for the aim was for the person who get this thing inside to be connected to the gray hive and manipulated. Fortunately, the gray hive has been disconnected from Earth, so now this connection won't happen. It's still harmful to your body. Just not a good idea, but this connection won't happen. So yeah, there are hybrids between greys and humans. But there's, I was made aware of this manipulation of greys or hybrid greys, saying we come from the future and we need your consent, or you just for us to be here, or we need genetic material, we need to abduct you, and we justify abductions because we need to take fresh genetic material. Come on, what it takes is one individual and you'll have it, the genetic material.
Yep, absolutely. They're playing the poor me, and
That's
I mean, most of our military would see right through that, but they justify it and go with it anyway because they wanted the tack. Unbelievable stuff. The thing that's unbelievable about them is because I actually believe it did happen. There's so much evidence, regardless of what people like to say. There's no evidence. I've seen no evidence. Well, they're walking around like this if you're not seeing evidence. Take your hands away from your eyes, take your head away from your phone, and look up. It's everywhere. We are getting down to about the last 5 minutes of the show. So let's get some final thoughts out there. Danielle.
I just recommend everybody the research. I'm thoroughly enjoying Elena's books. You know, the websites that you gave out. Highly recommend that you research those. And you know, I've been doing a little bit of research ever since going back to 1969. But in 2001, when I saw what the mainstream media did, that purposely kept the public from becoming aware of explosive testimonies that revealed this reality, I started researching. And once you become aware, you can't deal with something unless you know something exists. So all I can say is, to everybody is research. Go through. Yeah, I guess all we have is alternative media channels, on Rumble and BitChute and certain speakers that are speaking out just research. That's all I can say. Yeah.
All right, Laura, you got some parting thoughts for the listeners?
Well, it's always so clarifying talking to Elena, and sometimes I get asked these questions, and I wish I could just kind of like do a shout out and like, hey, Elena. And I think I've mostly gotten it pretty straight, but it's just so great because it's always just really grounding and helpful, and just to have both of you here. It's always awesome to be with you, Dan, and you as well, Stephen. My website's cosmicguide.org. Most of the stuff that I do is posted there, and I will try and keep it updated. And that's pretty much it. There's just, things going on, and a lot to look forward to. The planetary aspects are always in our favor if we can get to the higher octaves of what they represent. They like to leverage the shadow side of it, where they're kind of keeping us, in the dark, to where we don't experience the greater potential of any of these planetary bodies, and how that relates to our organs and our nervous system and our endocrine system. And I'll just say, for like an example, the lower Saturn is the tyranny and the control. The higher Saturn has to do with self-mastery and becoming a teacher. And as that is working with the moon in opposition on this particular full moon, it'll help us to really break down the Saturn moon matrix and programming, even if that technology has already been taken down, to help us go through the completion of this transformation cycle to kind of hold the higher vibration that they've been trying to weaponize and use against us by finding a psyop. Every time there's a planetary aspect, they use a psyop to throw into the inability to go through the initiation and breakthrough. They'll always find some way to create a psychological operation that puts us in the dark side of it, so they can maintain control, and just always know there's a flip side that's way better.
Absolutely. And Elena, parting words. We've got 1 minute left.
Use your own discernment. We are an extremely intelligent species. The fact that you are not aware of everything doesn't make you stupid, just makes you unaware. Just as Dan was saying, research and use your own discernment. Remember, each of you are an amazing intelligence species with amazing psychic powers. If you do not know it, the enemy knew it, but now you need to know it. Go within. Don't try to find answers outside. Who's been arrested, who's fighting against who, it's not your problem. Your problem is to raise your frequency, do your job, stand against the tyranny, recover your sovereignty, go within and meet who's inside. And you'll be surprised. It's an amazing being inside. So that's my words.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for sharing your time with us. We're out of time. We'll be back next week with the Red Pill. Thanks to all the listeners, and thank you guys again. We're going out with the Illuminati song. Thanks for being here, everybody. Actually, we may not be, because I didn't share the sound. Hang on. Here we go.
We want to get into the Illuminati because we want to get invited to the coolest parties by subtly communicating hidden symbology. Soon we'll be part of a secret society. Hollywood